On today's video, we're going to find out what's wrong with our 2000 Dodge 3 Caravan. It was running great. All of a sudden, it started throwing white smoke, smelling like gas, and just sputtering. We could barely even drive it, actually. So we had to bring it home, and we're going to start checking what the problem is. As you can see, it's throwing out white smoke as well as raw gasoline from the tailpipe. This, I believe, could definitely damage your vehicle if you drive it this way, so we're going to try to find out what the problem is and get it fixed as soon as possible. We're going to start by getting on the vehicle. We're going to check what codes the computer is giving us. It should give us our codes right here, and all you have to do to find out the codes is come to the key switch, open it once, close it twice, close it, and leave it open the third time. And let's try that one more time. 1, 2, 3. And we should get the codes there now. We're getting P1684. We're getting code 0601. And we're getting code 0202. And that's done. Okay. Okay, when I checked the codes on the computer, it said that P06184 is simply that, you know, there was a power disconnecting, which probably happened when I disconnected the battery previously. It's the code 0601 is telling me that there is some type of connection loss between the PCM and some sensor on the car itself. The 0202 is telling me that there's an injector problem. So what I'm thinking is the communication error is from the PCM to the actual injector. So what we're going to do is, first of all, before taking anything apart, we're going to follow the fuel injection harness, which is back here. As you can see, it's located back here. And follow it. Here it is. Not sure if you can see it, but there it is. The harness goes through here. Here is, as you can see, the harness is this one here, and there it is back there. And from what I could see, these tend to burn up because they're right on top of your heat. One of the hottest, actually, sorry about that, parts of the motor, your header, I believe, and as you can see, it shows some corrosion. Actually burnt. It's burnt in that area, so that's probably the cause of what's giving us this short circuit between the PCM and the injector. I changed the injectors not too long ago, so I don't believe it's the injectors, but we'll check it anyway. But here is, if you can see, it's very, when I take it out, you'll be able to see it more closely. It's basically held by one of those red pin clips, as you can see right here. We got to push that red pin clip up, and once we push it up, we could just slide it off. But we got to remove the air intake and all these parts here in order to get to the harness section that plugs onto the injector, so we can remove the whole thing and see where exactly it is damaged, if it's just there or in other areas. So we'll get to that right now. We'll start by removing this section here, the air intake on this clip here, this hose, and we'll go from there. With this clip, there's another clip here in the back. Move that clip. Now we can remove this clamp. Loosen off. Now there's also, to this, there's a clip, a little plug that you have to remove. You remove it by pressing it down on the back, and it slides right off. This plug right here. It's connected to this section. So now this should easily come off. And there we go. It's off. This is the plug I was referring to. Now, if you look back here, you will see there's two more plugs. We got to remove those. This one you squeeze in and you push out. It's a little difficult. You might have to squeeze it several times, but as you can see, if you squeeze back here enough, it should come off. don't pull it by the wires. You don't want to pull any of those wires out. This one has a little one of those red clips, so you can see you push the little clip back and then you squeeze the top. I'm sorry, you squeeze in the bottom after you push the red, and it comes right off. Push the red clip back in so you don't lose it, and then when you're going to put it, just slide it back. Okay, we got that section. Here you're going to have a hose also. That one just have to push back and disconnect. There we go. Okay, so as far as the hoses, the only one in this section, the only one we're missing is this one, which we're going to remove right now. Okay, I have these bent needle nose pliers. Hopefully it'll help me. These clips can be a little difficult to get out, but they can be taken out. I'm sure there's a better tool to take these out. This is what I got, so do the best with what I got. This is where you need a third hand. All right, so you can see, finally got it out. This just slides back like that and it's out. Now we're going to remove these 8 screws. Well, actually before those 8 screws, we're going to remove this clip. Same way, this plug, just pull the red clip back, press here, slides out. These hoses here, these vacuum hoses, or hoses, I don't know if they're vacuum or not, but these hoses back here. One. There, you got the second one out. Moving back this way. We're also going to remove the power steering tank as well as the throttle cables. We're going to remove the throttle cable screws with a 5/16 socket. Put all your screws together in a box or something, you know, it's better to have them that way. Okay, now we're going to come here. Okay, now we're going to pull these off. Let me put here so you can see exactly how I do it. It's quite simple. Just push this forward, twist it out, and it comes out. Same thing with the other one. If you're having trouble pulling the cable, loosen it from here. It'll make life a lot easier. There, you can see now we have more flexibility with the cable. And again, we push it forward and slide it right out. Get this out of the way. Now we're going to get to the tank itself, the power steering tank. We're going to use a 5/16 again to remove the power steering tank. There's 2 here, and there's a bolt that you get through back here. That one is actually a nut. You don't take it out all the way, just halfway, because this just slides in. So a little that you take it out, this should slide out. Okay. Like I mentioned, let's see if I could get to it. I'm gonna need an extension for that one. The way I take that one out is with a short extension and the 10 millimeter, because it is a 10 millimeter. All right, that's a few turns should allow it to slide out. There we go. See, it's right. You can see it. That's exactly. It's right here. Right here. So you don't have to take it out all the way, just a little so that it could slide up. Or move it to the side. Don't have to move it that far. Right here is enough. Now we got to take out these 8 bolts that hold the air intake. And that should at least get this section out and expose the injectors. These are 10 millimeter. There's 8 of them. Front ones are not hard. Back ones a little more difficult. One out. 3 to go. Third one. And the last. I think my battery is running a little low, so even though you might want to loosen them first with a regular socket and then use the electric one if you have one, or an air or a pneumatic one. There we go. We have it out. As you can see now, this is our injector harness. We got to get it out as well as from the black, and we'll inspect it and see exactly what's wrong with it. You might want to clog these while you're working with some tissue paper or rags. You don't want nothing falling in there. But for now, let's try to work on removing the plugs. Again, these plugs are just the red clip. Push it up and slide the plug right out. Oh, I'm sorry. Once you push it up, you have to press and then it comes off. There we go. This is just one of the plastic clips holding the harness in place, but once you do slide it up, push the clip back down so it doesn't fall. These clips are usually already broken, so you push them down and they're back there. Again, push the clip up, push it back down. Got one side out, push the red clip, push it back down. All right, we have the harness out. So now what we're going to do is remove it from the back. I'm going to go ahead and remove my battery terminal since I'm working with, it's also a 10mm. When I start moving the wire, I don't want any wires to touch. I don't know if they have power now or not, but better safe than sorry. I've got to clean the battery terminals as well. Okay, now we're going to find the plug. Right here, we got to push the red clip out. You might want to get a flat screwdriver, help push the clip out. That little red clip can be a pain, especially back here, but once you get it out, everything will be a lot easier. Alright, let me get another screwdriver. Okay, I think I'm going to continue with the same screwdriver, but again, push it from one side so you can see. As you can see there, it popped out. If it wasn't popped out, you'd have red on both sides, but push till you pop it out. There it goes. Then you just press here and the plug should come out. Wow, that was a tough one, but we got it out. Now we're going to bring it in through here, push it out, and there it is. Got the harness out. As expected, the harness is very, it's even stuck together in some parts here. As you can see, all the insulated rubber is gone on most of these. I'm surprised what happened wasn't worse. But even here, these two are stuck here as well. I don't know what, I know they have these wire harnesses on Amazon and probably your dealer, but it's my 2003 work van, so I'm gonna try to see if I could splice them and put heat shrinks and try it that way. See if I have enough good wire in here to do that. If I do, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna show a video how we try to repair it. And we'll go from there. If it solves the problem and we have them well isolated, we should be able to just use it that way. If it doesn't, we'll have to end up getting a new harness, but if we could get it done, it's money we save, and at least it's the factory harness and not one that you might get with cheaper wire, grade inside. So let's try it and we'll take it and start working on it. As you can see here in the light, you can see it better. It's just all melted together there, and a lot of the insulation on these wires is just falling apart. So most likely, if we're gonna splice them and put them back together, it's gonna be from somewhere really close to the here. And if we could do it, we're gonna try, see if we don't have to buy one, but first we're going to remove all this. We're going to have to put it back. That's the insulation, I believe. Let's see how back our problem goes. All right. Here it looks like they're stuck together again. Yep. You can see the wire's open there, so that's an issue we're going to have to fix here. It's another issue. You can see the wire's cut there. At this point, I'm not even so sure we can get this harness fixed. We'll give it a try. I don't even know how the van ran. Guess those are. My work van is a heck of a little van. Look at this thing. Wow. I don't even know how this ran, to be honest. But we'll see. I'm probably gonna, most likely, I'm gonna continue to remove tape here. And most likely I'm gonna, if I see this wire too brittle, I'll probably end up putting new cable in this area. Let's see. We'll save this so we can put it back again. Back here it doesn't look terrible. I'm pretty sure it's not that bad. As a matter of fact, if I see anything like here, I'll just cut, splice it, and put a piece of heat shrink. I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to go wire by wire. See where we see the problem. I don't see the problem further this way. Let's check anyway. You don't want to build it and then realize the problem's still there, so it doesn't look like there's any trouble here. I don't see any. No, it's just rubber. There it's fine. So there it's fine. That section of the wiring looks good to me. Make sure none of these little red clips fall. It's a good idea to put tape over them so they don't fall. I'll probably do that now in a little bit before I continue. But let's check this side here. At least see how we get closer to the first injector. When we're done, we'll tape all this back. But better to make sure. I mean, it has the rubber of the tape on it, but I don't see nothing wrong here either. Well, no. Might be able to save it after all. All right. So we're gonna get our heat shrink, our pliers, and start cutting and cleaning, taping, and getting this thing done. Obviously, you don't want to remove a lot of wire because you don't want the plug to be shorter and then sticking on top of the engine. I might just find some wire so I could put the sections back. Good thing is the copper itself looks very strong, not brittle at all. So if we could just get it coated and separate them from each other, we should be fine. Yeah, that looks fine. If you look at it, it's not brittle anywhere. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut. The plug itself looks great. We're just gonna cut so we can get our heat shrink in, put it together, and heat shrink it. Bring the heat shrink as close down here as we can, and that'll be it. We'll follow the same step from every cable. I'm gonna show you one, and you could follow the same example for that one for the rest of them. I would prefer using the same harness because, as you can see, the copper they used here is great. I mean, some of the new cheaper harnesses that are not factory, the copper is not that great. A lot of them, I've seen some of them that's aluminum just with a copper plate on top or something. So if I could save this, I'm definitely going to use it. I'm removing all the bad insulation from all of them, see where I have to, and see where it goes to, see what I have to replace before starting. And this way I can see if there's anything really broken. Right now I don't see nothing broken, which is a good sign. I mean, you could probably just say, oh, why don't you just tape it? But tape with heat doesn't mix, so it's better a heat shrink where you know at least it'll hold for a while. When I put this heat thing, I'm gonna bring it higher, closer to it to make sure, you know, it doesn't get close to the engine again. But that's it, that's the side. Now I'm gonna start cutting and heat shrinking. These areas where I see, like here, a little cut, I'm gonna do the same thing too. Matter of fact, I'm gonna peel the metal out so I don't miss them later. And if it's one of these that I'm gonna fix, I'm just gonna bring the heat shrink all the way back here. And that's that. I think there was another one here. Let's find it. This is another one where you can see it. See? We're gonna do the same thing. There, we got another exposed one. I believe there was a green one that had that as well. Well, the green one looks good there. But you know what? Let's go ahead and remove that part too. Much better safe than sorry. Man, it's not the easiest thing to remove that cover. It's not difficult, but it's not easy either, so you might as well take advantage now and find any possible. See, there's another one. You can still see a little copper through there. I'm surprised the car ran and didn't bog off or turn off or mess up the PCM. At least we're hoping it didn't. That's done. This is done. This is done. This one I don't see nothing wrong with it. Okay, we got it ready. Let's start with our first one, and then I'll do all of them and show you at the end how it was done, how it looks actually. Okay, here are our heat shrinks. You get them at Amazon, Harbor Freight. I believe these are Harbor Freight or Amazon. You can order it from there if you don't feel like driving or Harbor Freight is too far away. I'm actually running out of some of them, and I'm working on the Whalers electrical and the rigging, so I'm gonna need probably another box, but this should be enough to cover all this harness. I also have these things where you heat it and the lead unites the both wires, which again, these you could get on Amazon. I'm gonna try some of these, and then I'm just gonna cover it with the heat shrink. Once the lead unites both wires, I think that'll give it a better, see if that will work nicer. Okay, I'm gonna get my wire cutter, cut here. Make sure you do one wire at a time. Check the wire, see if this is one that needs another further back, but no, it's fine everywhere in the back. So now we're gonna grab one of our tubes, make sure it's long enough for what we're gonna do. As a matter of fact, we're gonna cut this a little shorter, for the reason being that we want, when we put the heat shrink, to cover all the way down here. I see them getting a little loose down there as well, so I'm gonna cut it a little shorter, take a little, about half an inch off. That ain't gonna make a difference. Pretty sure this works this way. I don't know if these are too thin for this, or if some of them got heat and got messed up, but maybe I could get one going in one way. If I could do that, we got it right. Okay, we're gonna put a whole heat shrink here. We wanna go as far as we can again. This should definitely cover the whole thing. Yeah, it should. Okay, don't forget, put your heat shrink in. Now we're gonna, same thing to the other side. Some of these look narrower on one side or the other. I might have left this out in the sun when they've shrunk already. Yeah, don't leave your heat shrinks or any of these heat shrink terminals in the sun, especially in Miami. You can see one way, one the other. So now we have it there. We're gonna heat it. We're just gonna use our lighter. You can use a heat gun, which is probably the best thing to use. Let me see if I get the heat gun better. When you have your heat gun, make sure you remove all your other shrink tubes out of the way. You don't want to ruin the whole box quickly. I gotta remove all these out of the way. Okay, now let's heat it. Let's put it on low heat. That is super cool. As you can see, that little piece of lead in the middle, right here, just melted and welded both wires together. That is awesome. Now we're gonna get the heat shrink. Once it cools off, it's already, and roll it all the way to the tip of the plug right there. And we're gonna start heating it there. Push it down with your hand so it doesn't have a chance of going up. Let's see how I do this not to burn myself. Okay, the bottom grabbed already, so now we're just gonna come up. Okay, once you see that little glue come out there at the tip, that means it's sealed. And let it cool a second. You can see I took this as close as I could to the plug. Let me now heat it so it closes there. There we go, a little bit of glue came out. And we have all that area pretty sealed. So that's basically what we're gonna do to all of them. When we're doing one like this, for example, that has on the back, we're just gonna roll the piece in. As a matter of fact, let's do this one next so I can show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut here. We're gonna get a piece of shrink tube. First we're gonna take a little piece. I'll take a little piece for the back. I'm just doing this one so you can see. You roll this one first, put it in place. There we go, you've got the glue coming out of both sides. That's a perfect seal. Now we're gonna go to this section. Wait till it cools a little. Bring this guy here. Gotta wait till it cools because we're gonna slide this one all the way back. We don't want it to shrink on us when we're putting this on. I think on this one I'm gonna cut some of the parts that I've gotten in. There we go. It's cool enough. Bring this back. Bring this here. Just like we did before. Bring this here. See how one goes to one side, one is in the other. Now we're gonna heat shrink it. There we go. All right. We got that lead melted. As you can see, that lead melted all over both of them. So I practically welded them and sealed them. That is hot. I'm really liking this heat shrink. Technically, that's it. It's supposed to shrink, but since I give it so much heat for the lead to melt, sometimes it makes a hole too. That's why I think putting a boot on it. And anyway, I want to isolate this section, so putting another heat shrink over it is the best way to go. Again, we're going to take it as close as we can to there. We're going to heat shrink it. There it is. We got the glue coming out of the front, glue coming out of the back, and that's how we did the one with just one heat shield and the one where we had to put two shrink wraps. Shrink seat. So now we're going to do the rest of them, and that'll be it. Okay, we got all this after quite a while. We got all this with the shrink wrap. As you can see, I missed one of them, but I'm just gonna tape this one. One came short. I'm gonna tape it as well. I think I'm gonna grab all of them. I'm gonna use small zip ties to hold them together, to hold the wiring together. Make sure there's nothing touching, no bare wires. And then we're gonna put this back on, the heat shroud it had. Put it around here, and we'll tape that to it as well, and we'll go from there. But it took a while, but I think they're all insulated. I don't really think even these are insulated, but just in case anything sticked out, some of the soldering could come out sometimes since you're giving it so much heat for it to melt. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little tape. Again, I'm gonna tape this together a little just to have it uniform, and we'll go from there. We got all these tie wraps, which are awesome. I'm going to be using them on the boat as well. I mean zip ties, I'm sorry. They're great. I got them on Amazon. All these for at least $7. Can't beat that. But maybe your local hardware has them at that price. But anyway, these are the ones I'm going to be using, the smaller ones, and the rest I'm going to be using on the boat later. And I'll show you guys that as well. Okay, there you go, all taped up. Hopefully it works better. It looks better at least, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna put a little tape on this too. It's kind of breaking up. At least we could keep it together. Want that going in your engine anywhere, so get rid of it. Let's get a little here. I know it's a lot of work, but if we get it right, we save buying a new harness. I don't even know if they make them or if we have to go to the junkyard. I believe Amazon has them, but I'm pretty sure they're not this quality. These cables, even when I was peeling them, not one of those wires. Then you're gonna lose one of the strands on those wires. I mean, they're really good. So here it is. We're pretty much ready to go put this back on the car now. Oh, one thing we're missing is the heat shroud I had around here. Has Velcro, just pretty neat. I don't know how far that thing goes. I guess there, but yeah, it has Velcro, which is awesome. Here's where I figured, because of all this thing I put, it wasn't going to close right, but we'll get it to close right. It's close to closing there. I'll get one of those tie wraps. I'll grab it here at the end. There's got the heat shroud. We'll make sure when we're over there to turn it to the area that faces the header. Well, there it is. Again, be careful with these little red things. So you can see even these that break. See, that obviously broke because they come off. As long as you can push it back in, they'll still hold. So just make sure you don't lose them and you can push them back in. All right, now all that's left to do is go back and do everything we did to take it apart in reverse and try it out. So we'll see you back in the car. Make sure you pick up all the excess pieces of plastic and wire strands and tape. You don't want your pets to get near them. It could be harmful. And again, disposing of them properly is way better for the environment and all of us. So just make sure you pick them all up, every little strand. Okay, we're back at our van. We have our harness, and we're going to start putting the harness back. Okay, we're going to run it the same way we found it down through here. And then we're going to plug it back in the plug. Now it's the moment of truth. Let's see what happens. It's probably gonna have still some gas left in, so let's wait and see. Sounds better. Let's go and see the smoke. Alright, it has a little smoke. Let's see if it clears up or just gets worse. Okay, our smoke is gone, so apparently that short was the one causing the number 2 injector from failing. Let's go and do a check on the car now and see if the code is gone, the 0202. Alright, so we're back inside my work van. Sorry for the mess, but I'm sort of messy. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and again do the code test, and here's how it goes one more time. Just open the key once, twice, and just leave it open, and now we'll see what code it gives us. Actually, we got no codes. Wow. As you can see, we solved it. Not only did we we're able to use the part we had by putting the shrink wraps. We were able to contribute to less waste, so you're helping the environment, and most importantly, you save some of your hard-earned cash. Again, I'm sure a professional would have done a better job, probably quicker. If you can somehow afford it, by all means, go ahead and do it. I mean, this is my work van. Every time I've taken it to a mechanic, it's been kind of an expensive, very expensive estimate. I got it for something that's probably worth less than $1,000, but to me it's worth everything because it's my job. And anyway, sorry to carry on. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful. If you know anyone who might benefit from this video, please share it with them. Thank you once again. Always wishing you the best, and one love.